after reading the Hashira training arc, which is only 10 chapters for the first time, that movie we got that had a 40-minute recap of season 4, the ending part, could have been cut, and we could have just had these 10 chapters as a movie. That would have actually made this a lot better, and it would have been more entertaining than what we got. So I stand by the fact that I said that movie was trash. It was, because it was like a 2-episode anime that could have been on Crunchyroll, compared to this, which could have been easily a 90-minute, 2-hour movie, which would have been way more entertaining. Hey guys, welcome back to Everything Anime Podcast. I'm one of your host, Shinry. Here with Everything Anime Podcast, we talk about everything from anime, manga, video games, TV shows, and whatever relevant topic we're talking about. Today's video is on Demon Slayers chapters 128 to 136 or 138, one of the two. Either way, this is the entire Hashira training arc. I will be going through my notes to talk about what happened and giving my thoughts as well as what I thought of giving my thoughts about it throughout the video. Now, one thing I did leave out in the previous arc, the Swordsmith Village, was that we got Muzan's backstory, which was very cool and very important. I loved seeing it in the Swordsmith Village arc, but I didn't mention it, I guess, because I was doing that video off the top of my head, because like I said, that was going on for 2 hours, and that didn't feel like it needed a 2-hour video. But we'll talk about it now. So Muzan was supposed to die at the age of 20, and his position, I'm not sure how, because it's kind of explained, but not really. But his position was like trying to prolong his life by like feeding him like this kind of medicine, and like it didn't seem like it was working for Muzan. Like Muzan was like, he was gonna die anyway, so like he just killed his physician because he was just angry. He was like, fuck it, you just die, you're not helping anyway. The moment he killed him, it kind of activated like his demonic nature, his demonic powers. It gives me like, you know, in the Vampire Diaries, like a werewolf curse. Like if you're born a werewolf or a natural werewolf, like your curse won't activate until you have your first kill.
Mace, whoa! Hey, Jimmy, easy. Let's get you home. And screw you! I know about you and Marla. What are you talking about? You've had too much to drink. Let's get... Dude, what's up? It's me, Mason. I'm not messing with Marla. You know that. You don't want to do this, buddy. I'm gonna kill you! Jimmy. Jimmy. Wait, the guy died?
You killed him?
He kept coming at me. He got in his head that I was sleeping with his girlfriend.
Well, were you?
No. I wouldn't do that. He was my friend. He was drunk and attacked me. It was self-defense.
Then it triggered the curse.
On every full moon, I lose control. If I don't sedate myself and chain myself down, I'll kill anything in my path. You have to be careful. All it takes is an accident, a car wreck, any death at your hands, and you'll have a lifetime of this. You don't want it, Tyler, trust me.
And so that's what that was giving me. But Muzan learned, like the moment he killed the doctor, he had incredible strength. But the yang to that incredible strength is that he wasn't able to stand sunlight. Like he would just get burned, so he knew, like, you know, I'm stuck in the darkness. Also, he began to crave human flesh and blood, which he didn't mind. He didn't give a fuck. He was down for cannibalism. He was like, if this was what makes me stronger and I'm able to walk finally and I'm no longer gonna die, I'll kill as many people as I got to. I was gonna die at the age of 20. Fuck y'all. So kind of dark, but I still thought it was kind of cool. However, he hated that he was stuck inside at night. He wanted like unlimited, like he wanted to like be able to do whatever he wanted to do, like basically walk in the daylight and at night, like a vampire with them vampire daylight rings. He wanted to be able to do that. Like he wanted both. And so he learned through the physician's notes that there is a cure to this disease / power he's given him, the demonic disease, to allow him to walk in the sunlight, and this is a blue spider lily. So he learned this 1,000 years ago from the physician's notes, and it would grant him immunity to sunlight. However, the only person at the time that knew about its whereabouts he had to kill, which was the physician, which also unlocked his demonic power. So you got your powers, but you killed the only person that would have helped you walk in the sunlight too. So it would have really made you immortal. But now with Nezuko being the first demon to be able to walk in sunlight in 1,000 years, he no longer needs any more demons, which we learned in this arc. And he just wants to devour her. He's like, once I get my hands on Nezuko and eat her, I'll be able to walk in the sunlight regardless. So that's where we are now in the Hashira training arc village, in the Hashira training arc. So the following day, the swordsmith village has moved without delay. Like, they're like, hey, we ain't got time to mourn these people that died. We ain't got time to, like, you know, say goodbyes. The whole goodbye scene from the swordsmith village arc ending in the anime and the movie, that don't happen. Like, they're already gone. They're like, hey, we gotta go. Them demons ain't gonna wait. We ain't got time to wait either. So I mean, it made sense but I think it's crazy that they dismantled the whole village in like less than a day. Like, buildings, homes, all that. They must have had like a giant trailer, and all them homes are like mobile homes are like, hey, we gotta go. But they did explain that to us before we ever got there, so it makes sense. It's not like it just came out of nowhere. We then learn a week has passed, and Tanjiro was back at the Butterfly Mansion. And we can tell that he's close to the rank of a Hashira because he mentions to something like one of the Kakushishi, the one that, like I said, wasn't important in the beginning of the Swordsmith village, that like monologued himself. He's there talking to Tanjiro after he woke up, and he's like, hey, Michiro woke up after like 2 days, and by the third day he had his strength back, and you woke up after 7 days, and you almost have your strength back, so you're kind of catching up to them. So we can kind of gauge Tanjiro like close to a Hashira, but not quite there. Just like I said, like when he fought the mechanical doll that had like 5 swords, but instead of 6, and he was able to land one hit. Well, he ended up decapitating the doll, so I guess he's very close to a Hashira. But, you know, that's just saying, like, that's the difference in their strength currently. Is that he's, like, almost to a level of Hashira. Almost there. Like, you're just a few inches away from being a Hashira. Also, if you're wondering how everyone's reacting to Nezuko being able to walk in the sunlight and be able to speak, they're curious if she's like, because I was wondering about how they would react to this too. They're curious if she's like evolving as a demon or she's becoming more human. Like, they can't tell because like she still has like her demonic tendencies, but she still will protect humans, and she still like, you know, act normal and like be more human-like. So they're just watching her. They're kind of just like keeping an eye on her. We don't see her much in this arc. As far as I see in the manga, so I don't know if the anime is going to change that, but yeah, she's not in this arc much. We then, of course, know Zenitsu would freak out learning this, which he does. He thinks Nezuko, like, learned to speak for him, which was kind of hilarious. Like, he's like, Nezuko, you did this for me. You learned to talk for me. And he gushes her, and he's, like, about to, like, basically asked for her hand in marriage, but she called him Inosuke because Inosuke's been trying to teach him how to say his name the entire time. And so when she finally sees Zenitsu, she's like, hi Inosuke, and this instantly triggers him, which I thought was hilarious. Even when I saw this in the movie version of the Hashira training arc, which I'll mention where it cuts off in the movie arc. But this is like one of the only 3 parts I liked in the movie, and it reminded me of that when I read this, because I'm never watching that movie again. It's pointless. Don't ever watch that movie. It's pointless. We then learn that all the Hashiras have been brought together for an important meeting. However, due to the master's illness, he's not able to attend, so his wife is taking his place. And again, the master did nothing on screen so far. But I remember in the movie, I think this is where they said he died. In the movie, they said he died. He obviously... Well, not obviously. I learned in the manga he does not die here. But in the movie, they made it seem like he died already. So that's why... I've been saying my biggest gripe was like the master did nothing, and he should have been like attached to upper rank 4, because upper rank 4 was a poison demon, or like he looked like poison, and then, you know, the master had all that poison on his face. So the point of the meeting, however, is to ask about the demonic marks that Tanjiro, Mitsuri, and Michiru have all formed in their battles with demons. And we learned that the swordsman who fought Muzan also had marks similar to these, and apparently there was like more than one swordsman that fought Muzan, but like our guy, whatever his name is, upper rank 1, was the only one that was close to cutting off Muzan's head. He was the only one that was close to doing it, but there was other swordsmen there. And we also learned that someone called the Marked One, when he appears, the ones who also are capable of forming a mark will also appear. So basically Tanjiro, because Tanjiro has been around, the other Hashiras, Muchiro and Mitsuri, were able to form their marks, were able to form demonic marks because Tanjiro is like basically the chosen one. He's the Marked One. And so I'm not really sure what that means. I'm not sure where they're going to go with that, but that's what we know. Now, no one seems to know the reason why this happened, so they question the two Hashiras, like, why? What happened to make you guys form this mark? Like, we've all been around Tanjiro, and none of the rest of us have formed marks. And Mitsuri's response is, just read it. I'm gonna give you guys a few seconds. This is what I mean by, like, she's just so blissfully, not dumb, but, like, she's in her own world. Like, she understands what they're asking and what's going on, but, like, the way she communicates and tries to tell them things, it just comes off as, like, childish and funny. But that's why I love her. Like, she's special, but in a good way. Machiro's answer is more straight and to the point. He's like, I was basically pushed to the point of life and death, and, like, it's a situation where, like, my body triggered itself into survival mode. It's kind of a simple explanation, but, like, the Hashiras just kind of go with it because they got nothing else to go off of. They're like, well, yeah, I mean, basically. I mean, he goes into more detail about his body temperature being hot and shit like that, but basically he got pushed into, like, survival mode. The Hashira is all determined, though, that they must manifest this mark, but the wife warns them that whoever forms this mark will ultimately, then it cuts away, but obviously she means they're going to die. I don't know why we cut away. We cut away a lot in this arc from, like, important stuff, and I'm going to get to that. But, yeah, it's left on a cliffhanger, but obviously what she was going to say is that whoever forms this mark is going to die. So, obviously, Tanjiro's going to die, and she's like, there's no escaping it. And then she gets up, and she's like, all right, the rest of the Hashiras, I'm leaving you to it. And they all begin arguing back and forth because, like, the water Hashira, Gyu, who we later learn something important about. I'm going to make sure we go in my notes this time, order, because, like, this is all brand new to me. But basically, he's like, oh, I'm different than you guys. I'm not supposed to be here. And it made me think back to what Shinobu said about, like, everybody not liking him and shit like that. Or, like, stuff like that. So, Saname, the Wind Hashira, tries to fight him. They begin to get into an argument. But that's when the Stone Hashira, like, claps his hands together. And he does something like Kyochi pressure. I mean, not Kyochi pressure, fucking my story. Spiritual pressure and Bleach, where, like, everybody else is held down by his energy. I was thinking, like, gravity, because, like, he's the Stone Hashira. But, like, basically, like, they all can't move. Literally. Like, he claps his hands together, and it's like the gravity around them, like, intensify. But he basically gets all their attention, and he tells them that he has a proposal. This, once again, is cut off screen as he begins to explain what it is. But basically, it's to train all the demon slayers into becoming Hashira or be getting stronger. And to train other Hashira to get stronger. That's obviously the idea, because it's called the Hashira training arc. We then go back over to the mansion where Hotaru arrives with Tanjiro's new sword that he got from the ancient doll. And he's added Rengoku's guard as Rengoku's guard to the blade itself. And Tanjiro kind of admires the blade. He mentions that it's blacker than the blade he had. The blade he originally had is blacker than that. So I'm not sure if that's going to come back into things like that. But, like, basically, like, Hotaru shows kind of respect to Tanjiro in his own way. Like, he's like thank you in his own way. And then randomly Inosuke comes to the window, which is the second thing I laughed at in the movie. Like, it was like one of the only few things in the movie that I laughed at. So there's probably one more thing in the movie I laughed at, because we're getting close to where the end of the movie was. But he basically announces, like, the Hashiras are beginning their training, and he's excited to fight stronger people. So obviously, you know, that's Inosuke's thing. Inosuke wants to fight stronger people. That's what he wanted when the first time he showed up, especially with the drum demon. He tried to attack Tanjiro because Tanjiro, like, caught him off guard or something like that. So I love that. It was really funny. So normally a Hashira doesn't have time to train new recruits, but because Nezuko's been able to withstand the sunlight, like, all demonic activity seems to have ceased. Like, there's no more new demons forming, there's no attacks recently, so all the Hashiras have been like, okay, this is the calm before the storm. Like, obviously Muzan is getting all his demons ready to attack. Like, he's like, look, I have to get to Nezuko, and y'all can't let my head get cut off. So basically, y'all are gonna be my demonic shields while I go after Nezuko. So obviously he ain't trying to let no more demons get killed. On top of that, he only has, like, the upper rank 3, 2, and 1 left anyway, aside from whatever random demons he can create. So yeah, he's like, yeah, y'all are gonna protect me. Y'all are gonna be my shields. So they can sense a war is coming, so they're trying to get everybody prepared for the final battle. So they're training every demon slayer ever, or every demon slayer possible. Now, my favorite character Tengen comes back. This is the third thing I loved in the movie, but that's it. And he, even though he retired, he came back to whip them into shape. And all their training is kind of different. It's kind of like done in like a monologue kind of thing, because like in the movie it was like a straight up monologue, and that's what the movie ended. And that's how like he's not in the theater. Everybody said, "What the fuck?" I even told my nephew. His dad's probably gonna see this video, but I told my nephew, "You're allowed to say what the fuck this one time," because yeah, that was a what the fuck thing. Like the movie literally ended after this montage of them training. I was like, so I literally thought the manga was gonna end there too, but the manga keeps going, and this is what I mean. Like the rest of this is cool shit, because I was like, that movie was a waste of time. It's a waste of your time too, because it's 40-minute recap of the ending of season 4. Nothing changed, and then it begins the actual movie with the title, with a scene that doesn't even actually happen. Like a scene with the Infinity Castle. Maybe it happens later in the manga, but it did not happen in this arc, the training arc, with the Saname and the snake Hashira going to, I think his name is Igor, whatever his name is, going to the Infinity Castle. That doesn't happen. Cool scene, but it does not happen in this manga, or so far. Now, all the Hashira are training them except for the water Hashira Gyo, who received the letter, who Tanjiro receives the letter to go, like, talk to. Tanjiro's told to, like, hey, go talk to Gyo and see what's going on with him. So this is where all of it is brand new. It was all brand new for me. We learned that Gyo expected Tanjiro to become the predecessor as the water Hashira, which I wasn't expecting, because that was never hinted at in the story at all. I know he had, like, I know Tanjiro knew water breathing, but then he learned fire breathing, and then he learned thunder breathing in the last arc. So I was like, why'd you expect him to be the water Hashira? I'm not sure, because Tanjiro even says he sucks at using the water breathing technique, which we learned in the last arc, or entertainment arc. He's like a more fluent with the fire breathing style, which is why I guess it makes more sense that he was drawn to Rengoku. Interestingly, though, he says that he says this because he claims that he's not the water Hashira before simply walking off. But but in the letter that Tanjiro got from the master, it basically said, like, hey, he's probably going to ignore you, so just, like, stay on him and make sure you get him to talk, which Tanjiro probably would have done anyway, because he harasses him for, like, 4 days trying to get him to talk before Gyu finally tells him, like, what's up, because we know Tanjiro's personality. He probably would have harassed him anyway. So basically, he never passed a Demon Slayer entrance exam, the thing that makes you a Demon Slayer. Well, technically he passed, because all you have to do is survive 7 days in the Demon Slayer entrance exam to become a Demon Slayer. But he never killed a single demon. Like, he was taken out. The moment he walked in there, Gyu was taken out. He was taken down. Like, he one hit KO, which is crazy because we know how strong he is from taking out a upper rank baby demon. But yeah, he went down with one hit. But there's more to it. So interestingly, he does have the strength. Well, I'm sorry, I'm mixing my notes up. However, he does have a good reason. I forgot to mention this. Remember that boy from episode 1 or 2, from the one that taught Tanjiro how to cut the boulder in half, and he was killed by the hand demon? Well, he was Gyu's best friend. Like, they met in the Demon Slayer entrance exam. They were both 13 years old, and they became quick friends. But that year of the Demon Slayer entrance exam, only one person that died, one examinee died. And we know who that is because we know that that kid died from, like, the second episode. We knew that. But we didn't know that was Gyu's best friend. So we learned, and his name was Sabato, in case you forgot. But we learned that Sabato kicked all the demons' asses. Like, the moment Sabato went in there, he was, like, slaying demons left and right. Like, he saved a bunch of Demon Slayers, including Gyu, who was taken down. And, you know, he never hesitated. Of course, we know he was killed by the hand demon. They don't mention that again, but we know that he was killed by the hand demon because the hand demon was bragging about it when the first time Tanjiro faced him. And Tanjiro was the one that took down the hand demon. But knowing this kid was that strong and saved everyone is really wholesome and awesome. I love that. We knew he was strong, but I didn't know he saved everybody that entire time. That was pretty dope. Though it's the only reason that Gyu is still alive is because of him, and that's why Gyu doesn't see himself as a Hashira. He's like, I failed the entrance exams, and even though I've killed demons, which is ironic because, like, you killed an upper rank demon as well, so you know you're at the level of Hashira. But he just doesn't think of it. He doesn't think of himself as a demon. He doesn't think of himself as a Hashira himself. And this is ironic to a part in my story in Show vs. Shinry, the Sword of Light, Book 2 in the Shinry series. Check it out. a little bit of sponsored part in this video. But Keto Gourmet had that same backstory where, okay, I'm kind of spoiling. Spoilers for the next 30 seconds. I'm going to explain one section of one character. Keto Gourmet was a character who was one day found in the snow country. He didn't know how he got there, but he was saved by a woman named Eliza. And Eliza was killed trying to protect Keto from something called the Ice Titan named Korea. And Keto basically always felt like he's the reason that Eliza died. So even though he became the stepson of King Gourmet and the stepbrother to Sato Gourmet, he would go out there constantly talking about, I'm going to kill the Ice Titan. And King was always punching him and telling him, like, hey, kid, cut it out. Eliza didn't die. So you would go out there and risk your life, risk the life that she gave you and throw it away, trying to fight a monster you can't take on. She gave you the life so that you would live and cherish it. So, like, you know, basically, be thankful that you're still alive. Be thankful to her, and to show you're thankful to her, like, you know, live and be strong and stuff like that. And Tanjiro believes that he can and that's the end of that, relating to my character. But obviously Keto did learn that by the end. Spoiler again from the Sword of Light. We're ending past that. But Tanjiro relates to him because he's like, he felt the same way about Rengoku. He thinks the only reason Rengoku died was because he was too weak and Rengoku had to protect him. But it was because of Inosuke. Inosuke reminded him, like, hey, Rengoku told us, like, he believes in us and he wants us to get stronger and, like, you know, cherish the life that he gave to us. Again, the lesson Keto Gourmet learned at the end of the arc. If you know, you know. If you read my book, you know. So I thought that was great because that is a great lesson to learn. If anybody ever risked their life to save you, do not ever feel like you owe them. They did that to save you so you can continue living and have a good life. They wanted that for you. So basically Tanjiro kind of reminds Gyu of that in his own kind of way. And we also learn a bit of Gyo's past that he told to Sabito. So apparently this is a part that maybe he was going to bring up to Shinobu before she told him, like, oh my god, are you trying to put me to sleep? Gyo's sister died trying to protect him from a demon then a night before her wedding. Like, she died protecting him. And he had survivor's guilt. So he had survivor's guilt twice. But Sabito had told him back then as well, that same lesson that he's learning again. Like, hey, your sister didn't die so you could feel sorry for yourself. Your sister died to protect you because she loved you and she wants you to live a full life. She gave up her own life. She could have saved herself, but she saved you. Do not waste it. Do not, you know, feel pity for yourself. Like, stand up like a man. And I thought that was great because, again, like, he probably just forgot. I think he does mention he forgot that because he was, like, really sad because he lost his best friend and his sister. But, like, it's just a really great lesson reminder. Sorry about that. So yeah, he had to learn that twice. However, this does snap him back out of it, which is great. And then we get a glance of, like, his sister in spirit and Sabito in spirit smiling at him. Again, a recurring theme in Demon Slayer that the spirits of your family and friends are still there with you. Love that. Now, once again, I have in my notes here, where was all this in the Hashira training arc movie? This would have been great. That is literally in my notes. This would have been way better than that recap we got. Like, 40 minutes wasted of our time of a recap. We then follow Shinobu, who is visited by her sister, and she asks Shinobu if she'll train with her, but Shinobu refuses. This made me think back to the demon that killed her sister before I even read on to the next page, and yes, that is what she wants. She's like, hey, we're going to go kill that demon that killed our sister. So I'm curious, is it going to be upper rank 3 or upper rank 2 or upper rank 1? I have a feeling it's upper rank 2. I just don't feel like upper rank 1. I'm not saying he couldn't have done it, but I just don't. Upper rank 1 already has a lot of relevance. Upper rank 3 already has a lot of relevance to Rengoku and Tanjiro, but upper rank 2 is still a mystery to us. So I feel like he might be responsible for killing her. If it's Muzan, that's just way too random, so I feel like it's going to be upper rank 2. But we don't know who that is yet, because once again, it's a cutaway before we learn who that demon was. But I have a feeling it's upper rank 2. Meanwhile, the Master's Crow flies to Lady Tamiyo, the Doctor Demon, and it basically goes to her and asks her to come to the Butterfly Mansion. He's like, hey, the Master wants you to come and research Nezuko with us and her changing blood with one of our own fellow researchers. Understandably, though, she was afraid. Like, you can see the shock and horror in her face. She's like, you want me to go to the Butterfly Mansion, surrounded by demon slayers, and I'm a demon. Like, they're going to kill me. But then I was like, girl, don't forget they got Nezuko there, and Nezuko's cool, and Nezuko's chilling, and they know that you're a good demon because you saved that guy. You helped him get his humanity back, and you've helped Tanjiro, and you've helped other humans. Like, we know that you ain't evil, so, like, they're like, yeah, you'll be fine. Like, girl, remember Nezuko, and remember Tanjiro. They're going to have your back. You're good. But again, even that would have been a greater cliffhanger in that movie. Like, where was this in that boring ass Hashira training arc movie? This would have been a great addition as well. Where the movie actually ends is even better in the movie, but like, again, it would have just been great. Now, meanwhile, we hop around again. There's a random time skip. Tanjiro is flying through his training, first with Tengen, who was happy to see him and impressed that he got stronger and that he killed another upper rank demon. This will be the second upper rank demon that Tanjiro has killed, because he killed upper rank 5, Gyotaro, and then he's killed upper rank 4, and obviously he's gonna kill upper rank 3, and then probably gonna jump to Muzan. He probably gonna kill upper rank 1 too. Upper rank 2, I think, is why I think it's gonna be killed by Shinobu or something, or Shinobu's sister, one of the two. We'll see though. We don't know that for sure. But yeah, then we go to my second favorite character, Machiro, who is happy also to see him and is impressed by Tanjiro's speed, because his is speed training. And if you think this is a ridiculously fast montage, that's because it is. Because only after 5 days, Tanjiro has already passed 2 of the Hashira training art classes. And then we learned that the other students, they're like, hey, can we be done with this too? And Machiro was like, y'all aren't even that strong, and y'all been here for 2 weeks. So, really funny. So, we know the reason why Tanjiro was stronger than all the other demon slayers, because demon slayers might be fresh, they might have killed like weak demons, they might not ever killed a demon at all, whereas Tanjiro has fought upper ranks, so Tanjiro has more battle experience and more training experience. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go with it. But yeah, Tanjiro, these are some fast montages for training. But again, it's a short manga, so I can kind of see that being why. But yeah, that's some very fast training. Next is Mitsuri's training, which is hilariously just dancing, and then it's dancing followed by some super stretching, super intensive stretching, which was hilarious because like basically like she's breaking their bones, because we know Mitsuri's incredibly strong. But I found that pretty funny. The next one I found hilarious was the Snake Hashira. I think his name is Igor. I'm going to call him Igor. His training has all the other demon slayers tied to post, and he tells Tanjiro his objective is to swing his sword without hitting any of the demon slayers that are tied up. And then Tanjiro's like, well, why are they tied up? And he's like, they were either too weak, they got on my nerves, or I just wanted them out of the way. Like something like that. And meanwhile, Tanjiro also is fighting Igor, and he has to land a hit on him. So Tanjiro's trying to hit the other demon slayers, or he's not even allowed to. But meanwhile, Igor's Zord, because it's like a snake, it can like bend around and like, basically contort to hit Tanjiro any direction without hitting those students. So that was pretty great. I thought it was pretty cool. Tanjiro's training is basically having to focus on being careful and accurate. But in another fast montage, after 4 days, Tanjiro completes this training too. He also says, because he like lands one hit on Igor, but post this, Igor says like, hey, don't flirt with Mitsuri. And I'm wondering if like this is because he like is in love with Mitsuri and she's the man that he's gonna be with, or if it's like a sibling kind of thing, or like he like sees her as like somebody he cares about. Because like again, he's the one that gave Mitsuri those striped socks that she loves and she kept and she wore. Because I remember mentioning that was like a random thing about Mitsuri's backstory, but I liked it. But I do find his personality endearing. He gives me like a Orochimaru, but like in a different way. And then next we move on to Zenitsu is screaming again because, yeah, that's really my transition. We move on to the next training. Zenitsu is screaming again because like a little bitch in the manga, which I thought was annoying until like I found out why. The Wind Hashira is like basically grabbing him by the back of the head, and he's like, come back to training or die. That made me laugh reading that. And it was, again, pretty funny. This should have been in the movie. That would have been another great humor to add. Also, this is the first time Tanjiro was rude to someone. He tells Saname, like, I'm excited to start training with you. And Saname is like, shut up, I don't like you. And Tanjiro is immediately like, oh, I don't like you either. With a smile on his face, he's like, you hurt my sister. And Saname is like, that asshole, what the fuck? I thought it was pretty funny. The Wind Hashira's training is simple, though. It's just basic combat. He's like, don't hold back. And like fight with your all, and he fights against normal demon slayers like this, but against Tanjiro he goes really hard. Like he does not hold back even more. He goes even harder on Tanjiro because he like obviously has a feud with him. On the first day, Tanjiro was beaten so badly and bruised. It was pretty funny, like just how beat up Tanjiro looked. But we get like a tease of like a full circle moment with another character. So Genya finally builds up the courage to talk to his brother again and like apologize. But Saname don't give a shit. He's like, fuck off, you're not my brother, I don't have a brother. And I was thinking maybe this is a little too late, because like obviously that happened when y'all were 10, and y'all, I'm assuming y'all like 15 now. If y'all the same age as Tanjiro or whatever, or similar in age, like y'all probably 5 or 6 years have passed, so it's like it might be a little too many years too late. However, something stops him. Genya tells him that he ate a demon, and like Saname kind of pauses where he stood, and I was wondering like what this would do, like, because his brother kind of stops in his tracks, and it most likely, I thought like it might have to do something like with their mother, because like he knows their mother became a demon. But what I did not expect was that he would go for the insta kill on his brother. Like he literally tries to stab Genya's eyes out, and the only reason he saved is because Tanjiro jumps in and saves Genya. That was crazy. I liked it, but that was crazy. I honestly did not predict that happening at all. He basically defends Genya, saying that he would have never defeated the upper rank without Genya, which is true because Tanjiro was saved by Genya multiple times. Once when Genya took those blows and healed himself up with the demonic blood. Once when Genya saved him from being choked by upper rank 4, and then obviously when the clones showed up, he blew their heads off. So yeah, it's very true. He saved Tanjiro a few times. But even then, Saname don't give a shit. He's like, he just gets pissed off at him even more. And then he and Tanjiro exchange blows. All the while, Tanjiro is telling Zenitsu to get Genya to safety. Like he's like, hey, get Genya away from this guy. A giant brawl then breaks out between all the Demon Slayers and Saname's training. And it gets suspended by, I'm assuming, the Master, who died faster in the movie than he does here, because again the Master is still alive at this point. Nor was this in the opening, so I don't know, but either way, like their training gets delayed with the Wind Hashira. One other random thing that happened is that while I think Zenitsu and Genya are running away, Zenitsu says to him like, hey, your brother's a freak or something like that, your brother's crazy, and Genya's a freak, so he's like, don't call my brother crazy. Just a random side note, but I just like that. Like, Genya's like, hey, my brother might hate me right now, but you have no reason to hate him too. Like, I know my brother hates me. You don't have no reason to. So I kind of like that. But it doesn't resolve. Like, I like that it's not resolved because Tanjiro said that or they got into a fight. Like, Saname and his brother still have tension, but it's not resolved yet. Next, we move over to the Stone Hashira's training, which I have no idea what's going on, but it looked hilarious from Inosuke's reaction. Like, they're all in this waterfall, and they're, like, trying to hold a pose. Now, I've never stood under a waterfall, but I do know, like, the pressure from water, like, water seems like it's weightless. Like, I mean, it is weightless, but when you add, like, pressure onto that, or, like, you obviously know, picking up a case of water becomes heavy. So, like, water, even though it's light, when you add pressure onto it or have it contained, it can be pretty heavy. So, like, trying to stand under a waterfall, I understood the training after that. But at one point, Inosuke hilariously dies from like hypothermia or something. Like, he just died. Tanjiro tries to call to him. Tanjiro brings him back to life, but I just thought it was hilarious that he died. And but the training of the Hashira basically is like stand under this waterfall, carry 3 logs, and then push a boulder in one move, in one go. So that's the training for the Stone Hashira. But he says it's basically to build your defense, which you can believe because this guy is huge. So I kind of like that. And no surprise, it is Inosuke that tells us like the Stone Hashira is the strongest of all the Hashira. Which, I mean, I can obviously get that from the moment like he seemed like he held gravity down on all the other Hashiras. We could already tell that. In another quick montage, though, Tanjiro finishes the first 2 tasks. Like, he stands under a waterfall, and then the second task, he like carries the logs with no trouble. But the third task is what gets him trouble. He can't he can't push that boulder in one go. And for the first time in a monologue, it doesn't move in the next scene. Like, it doesn't automatically happen. And then we're greeted by Genya, who finds Tanjiro, like, basically lying unexhausted. And he says, hey, your mark's getting darker. Curious if this is going to actually have some kind of relevance. I mean, Tanjiro brings it up a few more times about his mark getting darker, but I'm not sure what that means. I don't know if it has anything to do with, like, the demons. Plus, with it being a manga, I can't see the color of it. So maybe in the anime, it is getting darker. Maybe it's, like, a blacker red, or maybe it's turning black. Don't know, but can't get that from the manga anyway. Genya then gives him advice on how to move the boulder. It basically boils down to like, don't listen to the Hashira, what he's saying, like just watch his movements. That's basically what it boils down to. We then flash over to the infinity castle where the ukulele demon is playing, and is like not playing. It's like using its giant eye to spy on demon slayers while talking to Muzan. And we basically find out like she's using her all-seeing eye for Muzan to like find out where the demon slayers are located. They're trying to find Nezuko, but they need to find out like where all these demon slayers are, because even though the demons aren't slaying, or maybe that's why he brought all the demons back. He's like, all right, if the demonic activity ends, where do these demon slayers go? Like, where's their house at? So he's trying to find out like where the master's hiding and things like that. Oh yeah, because also the Infinity Mansion, the Butterfly Mansion, I think they mentioned, moves like the swordsmith village. So Muzan's like basically like having her track down. And he's like got a map, and he's like, okay, check here, try here, try here, and he's like he's like basically playing Battleship to find out where the Butterfly Mansion is, which he does find at the end of the manga, which is again where the movie should have ended. That would have been cool. Spoilers, but yeah, that's what happens. So we know we're on borrowed time because they're getting closer. Like they're following, they're battle shipping where the demon slayers are hiding. And then eventually we go over to Tanjiro and Inosuke, and they learn how to move the boulders. The Stone Hashira then congratulates Tanjiro personally, thanking him for prayer. Oh, so they all know about Tanjiro prioritizing the lives of the swordsmiths over Nezuko's life in the swordsmith village. But he's testing Tanjiro to see if he'll tell the truth, because we're going to learn something in a second. But basically Tanjiro's like, oh, I didn't choose to save those swordsmiths. Nezuko did, because I hesitated. Like, I was trying to save my sister, but I was torn between saving my sister and going after the fourth upper rank demon and letting him kill those swordsmiths. But the Stone Hashira says, like, I already knew that. I just wanted to see if you would tell the truth. So then we get some backstory from him. So he was the leader of an orphanage that like housed like 8 children. But one of the children like stayed out past dark, and he used to tell those children like, hey, don't go out past dark because there's demons out there, and you know, if you don't want to be killed, or you know, stay here. And they would light incense every night to keep demons away. Well, one night this badass kid just stayed out past dark, and the demon cornered him. But so the kid could save himself, he was like, hey, don't eat me. I can get you into that village. There's 7 healthy kids there, and plus there's one big blind guy. You can get him. And so the kid blew out the incense, and the demon went in there and slaughtered 4 kids automatically. The Stone Hashira wasn't able to save those 4, but the last 4, which we're about to get to, let me check my notes, make sure I'm saying this right. Oh yeah, so the last 4, 3 of them didn't think. So the demon had already killed like 4 of the children, like when he got in there. But the blind Hashira, basically like stepped in from the last 4. But the 3 of them were like, oh, this guy can't save him. He's blind. There's nothing this guy can do against this demon. So they ran for their lives. But the demon got them too. Like the demon got all 3 of those kids. I thought the last kid would play something important. Her name is Sayo. I don't know if we learned her name, but her name is Sayo. And because the Stone Hashira wanted to protect that child, first of all, he was angry that those children died. Second of all, he was angry that the demon had killed them. Oh, well, that a demon had even got in there. But third, he wanted to protect that child. So he, for the first time in his life, had punched that demon, or punched anybody. Because it mentions, like, basically he was like a pacifist. Like, he was born blind, but he was like a pacifist. He had never used his fist before. But seeing that demon had angered him so much. Seeing that demon had angered him so much that he used his fist for the first time, and that's the first time he ever found out how strong he was. Now, there's more to this, but basically, it's kind of ironically, thanks to that demon, he found out how strong he was. Because if that demon had never attacked, he would have never found out how strong and powerful he was. But he basically beat that demon down. He didn't kill it because, you know, you have to have an issuing sword, but he beat it down to sunlight. And once sunlight came, the demon burned away. In the morning, people came and checked on him, maybe basically like the police, and a little girl just screamed like, hey, he did it, he's a monster, he killed all these children. And it's not that she probably lied, it's because she's a child. She probably like hid her eyes after the initial attack, and she just didn't look the rest of the time, or she was too afraid to see. We didn't get context on like what she saw, or maybe like her brain just couldn't process it, because, you know, it could have been anything. But basically, she got him imprisoned, and he would have been executed and would have been killed and died without ever, like, you know, having been believed or having his peace out there. But the master had saved him, and he brought him into the demon slayer corpse and trained him to become a demon slayer, and he rose up to be a Hashira. And he says this is why he lost trust in people, because like what happened to him. But because Tanjiro was honest the entire time about, like, you know, Nezuko is the one that made me make the decision. He's like, I can trust you. You now have my full respect. So that was kind of cool. A little short backstory on the Stone Hashira, but very good, very powerful. But now with that, the Stone Hashira's training is complete. Sorry, guys. This desk is driving me crazy. The following day, Genya, Inosuke, and Genya are all hanging out, and we get this hilarious moment of Inosuke making fun of Genya for not being able to use breathing techniques. It's not really funny because obviously Genya, you know, you care about him, but like it's hilarious because it's anime, so you just go with it. And so they get into a fight. And I didn't mention this earlier, but Zenitsu had received a letter at some point, and this is where, again, it's a random off-screen moment where, like, it's a cliffhanger. We don't get to see what he read in that letter, but the next time we see him, he's in this, like, serious state. He's sitting on a rock, and his back's to Tanjiro, and Tanjiro's like, hey, have you completed the Stone Hashira training? And he's like, no, I haven't. He's like, oh, hey, do you want to hang out? And he's like, no, I don't have time to. He's basically, like, has his, like, first serious moment, like, where he's awake, and, like, his eyes, like, dead-eyed. He's looking straight ahead, and I'm assuming his grandfather died, and he learned he's become the next Thunder Hashira, the next Lightning Hashira. I'm assuming, don't know, but whatever it is, it's serious. But we know his grandfather loved him and cared about him, and is the only one that believed in him. So I believe it has to do with his grandfather. But we currently don't know what it is, so that, again, that's speculation. Tanjiro doesn't pursue it either, and he goes to check on Gyu, who's currently in combat with Saname. Now, they're just sparring, but we don't learn that until after they finish fighting, but they're basically sparring to see, like, sparring to get each other stronger or see if they can form the mark. But it ends in a tie, which was pretty cool, because, again, we know Gyu is the level of a Hashira. But there's also, this is, like, the major differences between this movie. Like I said, like, we didn't see any of this. And, but anyways, their fight ends, and then, you know, Tanjiro says something to Saname that pisses him off because Saname just hates Tanjiro. And then as Saname's walking back, he finds one of those eyeballs from the ukulele demon, which confirms that Muzan now knows where the swordsmith, where the Butterfly Mansion is, and where all the demon slayers have been hiding. So, the ultimate cliffhanger is that Muzan goes to face the master, like he goes to find the master before he dies. So again, in the Hashira Training Art movie, it made it seem like the master died. This confirms that the master was still alive, at least up to the point where Muzan goes to see him, and that's where I ended the chapter. So I know from here is the final war arc, and then something called the sundown countdown or something like that arc. So I don't know what those two are, but I know that the final battle arc is over 50 chapters, 50 chapters. So we'll probably break that down into, like, smaller segments, like I do Dr. Stone. Like, when I feel like something major happened, we'll break it down and talk about it, now that I'm very caught up. But other than that, I have no theories. I'm assuming Muzan's going to kill the master here, or maybe the master will do something awesome. Who knows? Maybe this could be the arc where the master, we get some backstory on him. Something cool could happen. Like I said, theories, I think Shinobu, the one that killed his sister, is upper rank 2 Doma. I think obviously Tanjiro's going to fight Asuka. That has to happen. Upper rank 1, don't know who he's going to fight. Maybe Tanjiro, get some backstory about how old he is and, like, how he's been immortal. Maybe he ate the blue spider lily. Maybe we'll find out Zenitsu learned more than the Thundercop and Flash. Maybe he gets, like, a second technique. Be kind of cool to see. Maybe we'll see Saname do something. We'll see the Snake Hashira do something. The Stone Hashira do something. Because those are the Hashiras we haven't seen them do anything. We got their personalities and backstories in the Hashira Training arc, but we haven't seen them do anything. And obviously, maybe there'll be some other demons. But, like, with only 3 upper rank demons and 1 Muzan and the ukulele demon, like, I'm like, I don't know what other major demons are going to fight. Or maybe it'll be like 2-on-1 like we've had before. We'll see. Either way, I'm excited. Hope you guys enjoyed this review. I'm surprised this one is shorter. Well, this was just 10 chapters. But I like this a lot more than, again, the Hashira Training Arc movie. That movie was trash. It should never been called a movie. I really enjoyed this, and I can't wait to see what happens in the war arc and talk about it with you guys and go through it with you guys. I know Demon Slayer's been out for a long time. People had been finished it, but this is my first time going through it, and I was very happy. I wish this was all in the Hashira Training Arc movie. But so this video is not too much longer. We're going to go ahead and cut it here. So I'll see you guys in the next video. I don't know what's going to drop, but we'll get to it when we get there. See you guys later. Bye. Hey guys, this video was sponsored by me, the author of the Shinry series, the Chronicles of Wayne, and Monsterverse. So I figured I'd do this outro a little bit different by showing you guys what you guys would be checking out. So, the Shinry series starts with Book 1, Shobu Samurai Project Aryoku. 10 years after the death of his parents, Shobu Samurai returns home seeking vengeance, but instead faces the choice to save his home from shadow creatures, blood beasts, and an organization once thought dead. Shinry's Shobu Samurai starts at $9.99. And if you love anime, manga, Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, Yu Yu Hakusho, Fairy Tail, Shaman King, Rave Master, Zatch Bell, anything like that, the Shinry series is definitely the series for you. You'll definitely want to check it out. The Sword of Light is probably the thickest one so far. And then these books are 2. This is Enter the Dread Zone Tournament. And the series original ending, Arado, the Legendary Konjuis Master. So, and I'll just show you guys some of the covers. Really proud of all of these. But I hope you guys check it out. If you don't like that, I also have the current published books for the Chronicles of Wayne, Love Be Damned, Cotton Candy, Full Moons, Fabled Lovers, A Cursed Virgin's Bite. If You Go Where Monsters Dance, Red will Rain Over Your House. Love Be Damned. Now, the Chronicles of Wayne is about a geeky guy, or a nerdy guy in high school. His senior year, he has a crush on the hottest guy in school, because of course he does. He's only got one best friend, and her name is Barb. Well, the hottest guy in school turns out to be a werewolf. And to make the story more interesting, he bites Wayne and turns Wayne into the first ever wolfman in the last 10 years. And because of that, it was also a sacred law that wolfmen should never be created. I don't want to get into too much of the Chronicles of Wayne without spoiling it, but I can tell you it's very short. This one sells for $6.99, and Love Be Caged right after it. The ending of this trilogy, Love Be Liberated, comes out in October. So I'm going to definitely do a more full in-depth review of this one. But yeah, it's an LGBT fantasy fiction story about werewolves, vampires, white witches, a dark warlock, and, well, many, many more surprises to come. So if you guys like to read, I definitely recommend. These are all the books so far in the Shinry series, except for Shinry's Beginning. I do have that one, but it's just not here with me. But yeah, I appreciate a like, support, or just a review on Amazon. Either way, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a great day.